Good evening to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is all about the Supreme Court ruling against the Gujarat state government related to Bilkis Bano case. Not easy to comprehend because it goes with a particular case. A lot of legal terms are there, and some of the sentences are lengthy. You have to read twice or thrice, only then you can understand. But let us start the session with the tone of the editorial. The tone of this editorial is critical, condemnatory, and concerned. Completely a negative stand taken by the editorial. The writer expresses strong disapproval and condemnation of the actions taken by the Gujarat government in releasing the convicted individuals involved in the Bilkis Bano case. The Gujarat government released those who have been convicted, and that is a focal point, the reason for criticizing. The use of phrases such as unequivocal indictment, disgraceful story, and guilty of usurpation of power conveys a sense of severe criticism. Very strong words have been used. Let us see how it starts. Unlawful remission. There is one important word. Unlawful, lawful, opposite, unlawful, not legally acceptable, easy to understand. Remission, an important word. Part of speech noun. The cancellation of a debt, charge, or penalty. Here you can say a charge or a particular judgment or a particular verdict. Unlawful remission related to what? On the Bilkis Bono case. What is the main idea of this editorial? The Supreme Court ruling, this is a subject, a noun phrase. The Supreme Court ruling it is something, is what? A searing indictment of Gujarat for aiding convicts release. Every sentence you may see a few words which are very important. In this sentence, we have three important words. The first one, searing. Searing has got two different meanings. One meaning, it means very hot. Peak summer, we use this word. Searing means what? Very hot. For very hot, we should also use the word scorching. We say scorching heat. Peak summer, we use this word, scorching heat. But in this context, searing means what? Severely critical, criticizing severely. Indictment, an important word, though we have got a few times, part of speech noun, a formal charge or accusation of a serious crime. Usually, indictment does not go with an individual, it goes with an institution. That could be an organization, a government, a state, something at a higher level. Searing indictment of, in this context, Gujarat state, of Gujarat for what? For aiding convicts release. Here again, exam point of view, this is important because convict verb. What are you supposed to say? Convict. But same word, when you use it as a noun, convict. Here it has been used as a noun and plural form. What is the plural of convict? Convicts. Convicts, here we have the last letter is S. Then we have to use the apostrophe after the letter S. Convicts, release. It's all about the release of the convicts. It has come under severe criticism. The Supreme Court of India verdict quashing, an important word. Quashing means what? Reject as invalid, especially by legal procedure. Here you have to learn one particular important expression. Idiomatic, they have given many a time. Null and void. To make something null and void means what? To make something invalid. An important expression. The writer should have used this. The Supreme Court of India verdict, again, subject, verdict quashing the orders releasing 11 men convicted for the heinous gang rape and murder of several members of a family during the Gujarat pogrom in 2002 is an unequivocal indictment of the state government. A lengthy sentence looks like a mini paragraph, but what does it mean? The Supreme Court of India verdict, quashing, quash means what? Reject, make something invalid. and quashing the orders, releasing 11 men convicted for the heinous gang rape. Heinous means what? Very bad and shocking, and murder of several members of her family, not family members, members of her family, during the Gujarat pogrom. There's a new word we have got for the first time, a part of speech noun, an organized massacre of a particular ethnic group. Imagine a particular ethnic group is targeted and they are massacred on a large scale. Massacre means to kill brutally on a large scale. Brutally, kill brutally on a large scale, not one or two, a particular group. But there's another important word which has been given many a time. You have to recollect the word genocide. Genocide also means killing of a particular people of a particular race or community. Then we use the word genocide. Ah, very good, Anand. I appreciate that. But here, what is the word program? We have got this for the first time. I always tell students some words they don't enter immediately. When you come across every editorial, you come across about 10 to 15 new words. Of these 10 to 15 new words, some could be familiar, some easy, some difficult, and some they don't enter. You may try twice, thrice, the word does not enter. This belongs to that category, program. And usually SSC they take this a word like this and give in the exam. They frame a question. So what you have to do, these words we don't use regular English, rarely we come across, and genocide we use regularly, familiar word. You have to write separately these words and practice regularly. During the Gujarat program in 2002, he is an unequivocal. Equivocal means what? Ambiguous, vague. Opposite, unequivocal, crystal clear, not ambiguous. Indictment of the state government. What happened if you don't have the background information? Way back in 2002, during the riots, a particular family got attacked, the women were raped, the men were killed, and 11 men were convicted. In this context, though we have got many a time, you have to recollect words like any case, you have to know the basic words. The one who files a case, what is the word we use? Plaintiff. What is it? This is an important word many students may not know. Plaintiff, Plaintiff. Plaintiff means the person who files a case. The other one, dependent, a simple word. Then it goes to the court. Every time the judge listens, it is known as hearing, and the whole process is called trial. During the trial, you produce evidence, eyewitness, witness. But some people try to produce false evidence. What is the word for that? Alibi, an important word. You got to be careful with pronunciation. Alibi means what? False evidence. And the judge may think the person has not committed crime. Then we use the word innocent and the person is acquitted. The judge thinks the person has committed crime. Then we use the word guilty and the person is convicted. Convicted verb, convict noun. This talks about that particular incident and 11 men convicted for the heinous gang rape and murder of several members of a family during that particular event, during the Gujarat program in 2002, way back in 2002. That is, the Supreme Court ruling is an unequivocal indictment, means without any ambiguity, formal charge against the state government of Gujarat. The men had been sentenced to life. What was the punishment? What was the sentence? What was the verdict? The men had been sentenced to life by a sessions court in Mumbai. Incident happened in Gujarat, but where did they get? The trial took place in Maharashtra in Mumbai. The men had been sentenced to life by a sessions court in Mumbai after the investigation in the Bilkis Bano case was shifted from the Gujarat police to the Central Bureau of Investigation and the trial transferred to Mumbai. The incident happened in Gujarat, but initially the Gujarat police dealt with the case. Later, the case was shifted to CBI and the case went to Maharashtra, Mumbai, and the trial took place in Mumbai. It talks about that. A disgraceful story that began with the Bharatiya Janata Party government facilitating. There are two words over here, disgraceful. Graceful, something positive. Disgraceful, not acceptable. Shockingly unacceptable. A disgraceful story that began with the BJP government facilitating. Facilitate means to make something happen. To make something happen, make an action or process easy or easier. Generally, this word you have to recollect two words. One is facilitate. What is the other word you have to recollect? Felicitate. Both have different meanings altogether. Facilitate means to create the conducive atmosphere, the right atmosphere for something to happen. Felicitate. Tomorrow you get, begin, began, begin. Very good. Felicitate. Tomorrow you get success. People call you onto stage. They acknowledge publicly your success and they garland you. They make you something. That is known as a felicitation function. You got to be careful with the spelling. How did it start? A disgraceful story that began with the BJP government facilitating their premature release. They got the term, let's say 14 years, but before they could complete the term, they were released, premature release. And that is one negative aspect, disgraceful. Second one, the freedmen being garlanded by their supporters has now ended, present perfect tense, with the court directing them to return to prison within 2 weeks. There are two aspects here which are not acceptable. One is premature release by the state government of Gujarat. Second one, the freedmen being garlanded. When they came out of the prison, they were garlanded. It was like celebration, garlanded by the supporters. All this has come to an end, has now ended with the court directing them to return to prison within 2 weeks. The verdict. I was talking about the case. So all the words, the final one, the judge says something that is known as verdict or judgment. The final word, the final decision of the judge. The verdict is based on the ground that Gujarat did not have any jurisdiction to decide on granting remission to convicts sentenced in Maharashtra. Already we have come across where did the case trial took place in Maharashtra, in Mumbai. Because of that, the state government of Gujarat or the Gujarat state government does not have or did not have the jurisdiction power. This verdict is based on the ground, on the reason that Gujarat did not have any jurisdiction, any legal power to decide on granting remission to convicts sentenced in Maharashtra. Whose job is it? Whose jurisdiction is that? The court in Mumbai, not the court or not the state government of Gujarat. In a telling observation, the bench, comprising an important word, we should not use a preposition of after comprise, consist of, you can say, comprise of, wrong. The bench comprising justices B.V. Nagaratna and Rujjal Bhuyan said, the state of Gujarat has acted, present perfect, in tandem and was complicit in one of the convicts' petition for a direction to the state. One of the convicts petition for a direction to the state. This is an important expression. Why? Wait for. Very good. One of the, whenever you come across the phrase one of the, you have to recollect three rules. In all the three rules, the noun is in the plural form. In one of the, here convicts, plural noun. Because it ends in the plural noun, because it ends in the letter S, a plural noun, we have to use the apostrophe after the letter S. Even that you have to look at. In one of the convicts' petition for a direction to the state, one of the convicts requested the state government, based on that, the allegation against the Gujarat state government, the state of Gujarat has acted in tandem, together with, in tandem with, an important expression. In tandem means what? To work with someone and together with someone. In tandem, it takes a preposition with, and was complicit. Complicit, an important word. Involved with others in an activity that is unlawful or morally wrong. You join hands with someone they are trying to do something unlawful or morally wrong, then we use the term complicit. Based on that, the Supreme Court has quashed that particular ruling. Continuation, there's no full stop. To the state, further direction to the state government to grant remission of the remainder of his lifetime term based on a defunct 1992 policy. A lengthy sentence, but in a nutshell, it says the Gujarat state government does not have the jurisdiction or the power to do something because the trial took place in Mumbai. One thing. And why did the Gujarat state government do that? Based on one of the convicts' petition for a direction to the state government to grant remission of the remainder of his lifetime, a life term. One of the convicts requested the state government to grant remission of the remainder of his life term. Based on what? Based on a defunct 1992 policy. Defunct, an important word. Adjective, no longer existing or functioning. It means something like not valid, null and void. It has noted that the Gujarat government, which took the correct stand during earlier proceedings, there are two dimensions again here. Initially, Gujarat government took the correct stand. It said, we don't have the right. The right belongs to the Mumbai court. But later it changed the stand. It has noted that the Gujarat government, which took the correct position, during earlier proceedings that only the government of Maharashtra, where the trial and sentencing took place, was the appropriate government to consider remission. When it comes to remission, which government is appropriate? Gujarat government or Maharashtra government? Maharashtra government, reason being that trial and sentencing took place in Maharashtra, obviously. But it had failed to seek a review of a two-bench judgment's order in May 2022, even though it was wrongly decided based on suppression of material facts. It was wrongly decided based on something. Based on what? Suppression of material facts. Suppress, to end something by force. You use force and stop someone or something, suppression, suppress. In citing, cite means what? To use something as a for reference. You can also think of the word quote. In citing the court direction as a reason for it to pass orders in favor of the convicts, the state government was guilty of usurpation of power, the bench said. An important word. Usurpation means what? The act of taking control of something without having the right to, especially of a position of power. Usurpation, you don't have the power to do something, but you take that power and you do something, then we say usurpation of power. It goes with the word power and also the preposition of. And the sentence talks about the Gujarat government, what it did not have the power. It did something. It took a particular decision, and it is nothing but it amounts to guilty of usurpation of power, the bench said. The ruling represents a blow for the rule of law. This particular ruling by the Supreme Court represents something. What does it represent? A blow for the rule of law and the restoration of faith in the judiciary at a time when there are doubts about the institution's capacity to hold power to account. Nowadays, Supreme Court, some people have been doubting, do they have the power to control the current regime or question the current regime or make the government in power accountable? But this particular ruling has brought that to an end and restoration of faith. The ruling represents a blow for the rule of law. That means the government, the regime, and it also another positive one more dimension, but positive. The restoration of faith in the judiciary. Whenever you think of talk about the government bodies, are very good. You have to use the the judiciary, the legislature, the executive. In the judiciary, at a time, what is the present scenario? People doubt the Supreme Court's ability to question the current regime. Doubtful, dubious, very good. When there are doubts about the institutions in this constitution, in this context, the Supreme Court, capacity to hold power to account, hold the government to account. On merits, it is a timely reiteration of the core principles. There are two words over here. Timely reiteration. I use the word reiterate many a time I have used. It means what? Say something repeatedly. And core principles. This also have used many a time. I give the context. If you go to a big company, you talk to the company representative, you may come across expression like core competency. They say, the person may say, our core competency. Competency means what? Expertise, special skill you have. Our core competency is something. Here, core principles, basic principles that animate exercise of the power to grant remission. Animate means bring to life, exercise of the power to grant remission. In the case of Gujarat state, that it should be fair, right? When the state government uses that particular power, the power of granting remission, that remission or the decision should be fair, means correct, just, and should be justified, and reasonable, and based on a set of relevant parameters. It should be just one thing, means perfect, flawless, and also should be based on a set of relevant parameters. Parameters means a limit or boundary which defines the scope of a particular process or activity. But here you can say relevant parameters means relevant terms and conditions, such as whether the crime involved affected the society at large, whether the convict retained the potential for committing similar offenses, still dangerous, or is capable of reform, or we can change that person. All these are parameters should be considered before granting remission. The release of life convicts who are generally expected to spend the entirety of their lives in prison, unless remission is granted after a prison term that should not be less than 14 years. Once they get this life convicts, they have to spend the entire life in prison. But there is an exception. What is that exception? Unless remission is granted, and this remission also can be granted only after 14 years. In this case, it was granted before 14 years. Based on that, premature release, what is the words used by the editorial? Premature release, not less than 14 years, ought to be individually considered and not part of any omnibus gesture without regard to the impact of their freedom on the victims, survivors, and society. This editorial not easy to understand, very complicated and a little dry, legal, and lengthy sentences. But what it says, these convicts, they have to spend their entire life in prison, one thing. But in some cases, they can come out. When can they come out? If they get remission? When can they get remission? After 14 years, that is one thing. And also, they should be considered individually. There is one important helping verb here in passive voice, ought to be individually considered. In Western countries, this has become outdated. Old English ought to, formal, meaning or function, not meaning, function, to advise or suggest someone. Informal, should, same function, advise or suggest. But now modern or current English ought to has become outdated. Formal or informal, we use is should, to advise or suggest to someone. Ought to be individually considered and not part of any omnibus gesture. Two important words. Omnibus means what? Relating to or providing for many things at once. You try to provide a lot of things at once, that is known as omnibus. And gesture, non-verbal communication, body language, a movement of part of the body, especially hand or the head, to express an idea or meaning. Without regard, without considering the impact of that, without regard to the impact of their freedom on the victims, survivors, and society. They have to consider all these things. Any rational remission, rational means what? Based on just reason. Any rational remission policy should encompass, means should cover humanitarian considerations, and the convict's scope for reform, whether they can be reformed or not, without violating the rule of law or societal interest. Both should be considered. How does the editorial end? In this case, none of the conditions for remission was met. This is an important sentence. You may get something like this in the exam. None. Which part of speech is it? Answer my question. Prison. Simple word. Jail, prison, confinement. In this case, none. None pronoun. Which type of pronoun? Indefinite pronoun. There are some important indefinite pronouns: one, none, everyone, everybody, someone, somebody, no one, nobody. But two are very important: one and none. None usually takes a plural verb, but if it is followed by a phrase like of the conditions, of the students, of the employees, of the boys, of the girls, then we have to use a singular verb. Was met. None of the conditions in the exam they may give. In this case, none of the conditions were met. Wrong. None of the conditions was met. They did not consider any of these conditions. So it has come under severe criticism. That's all about the editorial. Now let us go to questions based on this editorial to improve your comprehension skill. What is the primary focus of the Supreme Court ruling discussed in the editorial? Primary focus of the Supreme Court ruling. One should respect one's parents. Oh, Anusha, today you are there. Commending the Gujarat government's actions, praising the release of the convicted individuals, condemning the state government's role in aiding convicts' release, supporting the defunct 1992 remission policy. Answer is C. Very good. What reason does the Supreme Court give for quashing the release orders of the convicted individuals? That particular release order, remission, order related remission, was quashed by the Supreme Court. What is the reason behind? Lack of evidence in the Bilkis Bano case, Gujarat's jurisdiction over Maharashtra's sentencing, compliance with the 1992 remission policy, a two-bench judgment's order in May 2022. Answer is Gujarat's jurisdiction over Maharashtra's sentencing. Gujarat does not have the power. Based on that, it has quashed that particular order. How does the editorial describe the state government's involvement in the convict's release? Commendable means praiseworthy and justifiable, neutral and passive, tandem and complicit, unbiased and transparent. All these based on explicit information. In tandem and complicit. Answer is C. According to the editorial, what principles should guide the exercise of power in granting remission? While granting remission, what are the parameters to be considered? Question is about that. Arbitrary and discriminatory considerations. Arbitrary, based on whims and fancies, not based on reasoning. Individual considerations and disregard for societal impact. Fairness, reasonableness, and relevant parameters. Answer is third one. C is the answer. What does the editorial suggest about the release of life convicts in general? So, what does it suggest in general? It should be based on political considerations. It should be an omnibus gesture. It should not be without individual considerations. It should be individually considered with regard to societal impact. Answer is C. No, 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 not B. C is the answer. It should only be granted after a prison term of less than 14 years. No. Answer is obviously. What does the editorial suggest about the release of life convicts in general? It should be individually considered, not with omnibus gesture, with regard to societal impact, what impact it makes on the society. No, 51 answer is C, not D, not B, not A. Answer is what? C. Got it, sir. Who is that? Let us go to idioms and phrases. So move on to the next one, sir. That is a message from Anusha. Please go to idioms and phrases. Some of these are very important. They have given many a time. Achilles heel, black leg, cut the Gordian knot. These two have been given many a time. Bank exams. Do away with eye opener, everyday English. No, no, I was just joking. Black leg, rarely we use. But what is the first one? The most important. Achilles heel, weak or vulnerable spot in one's nature or character. Someone is very strong, character wise, physically perfect, but one particular spot, a weak spot, that is known as Achilles heel. Answer is D. Black leg. This is an important one, not easy to guess. They may give something like this, then you are in trouble because based on the words you cannot guess the meaning. One is D. Yes, go to the second one. But you can take elimination approach. Pandu is the first one to respond. Second one, black leg. He has got it right. One who continues to work when others are on strike. Everyone is on strike. On strike. Remember the preposition. But one particular person goes to work, continues to work. That person is called black leg. Answer is C. An important one, not a familiar one. Cut the Gordian knot. You come across the Hindu paper quite often. Achilles heel. Cut the Gordian knot. Same they have given many a time in bank exams, different competitive exams. What does it mean? Solve a very difficult solution, problem, not difficult problem, by quick, bold, and drastic action. Answer is E. Do away with, get rid of only single F, dispense with. And what are you left with? It was an eye opener. Generally, we say it is an eye opener, either present or past. You are left with something which makes one understand a situation or truth clearly. You assume something, but one fine morning you come to know the reality. Then you get the shock of your life. Then you say, it is an eye opener. That means you have seen the actual picture. Today's editorial not easy to comprehend. You have to read twice or thrice, a lot of words, and also lengthy sentences. You may get something like this in the exam. Then you have to have patience. Read meticulously, twice, thrice. Then you can answer almost all the questions. Should not be a problem. These are the words you got yesterday, but more you got. Keeping the time factor in mind, have brought important ones. Try to answer with the part of speech. Turmoil, political turmoil means what? Noun. Disturbance, confusion, chaotic situation. Very good. Chaos, chaotic situation. Wonderful. Pursue. Pursue is a regular verb. Also try to write a regular, irregular type of pronoun. Which one? Pursue your dreams. Pursue your goals. Follow or chase. Good, you have written. Someone is on toes. You're always on your toes. On toes means what? Idiomatic expression. Before the exam, you have to be on your toes. Means be alert. Please mention the word number. Turbulence for what? Ashok Kumar. Perhaps you are talking about turmoil. Hmm. Go for. Yes, Asha Singh. You can use that also. Go for something. Here you have to recollect one important expression. Go getter. Someone goes and gets something, achieves something, then we say he's a go-getter. Means he can get the work done. On toes, to be not ready, in a way to be alert. Summons an important word, part of speech, noun. Is it singular or plural? Singular. What is the plural form of this noun? Summonses. Summonses is a plural form. This is important from the exam point of view. You can use the word agile. Who is that? Lakshman. Wonderful. Allegations, we have got so many times. Now a familiar word. Call for means a demand. Call for, you, that has a different connotation. The situation calls for immediate action, demands immediate action. But someone's to ask someone to be present in front of the judge or in the court. He has been summoned. It can be a noun, it can be a verb. Reprieve, part of speech. It can be a noun, it can be a verb. Accusation, allegation, yes. Impeachment, imputation. Who is that? Anusha. On track. And you stop blaming, stop accusing, exonerate, an important word. Yes, reprieve, Kalyan has answered postpone. Postpone or cancellation. Both the words could be used. Cancel or postpone. Preempt, an important word, part of speech, verb. The party tried to preempt. Preempt means what? Prevent, exact word. Who is that? Tripura Sundari. Yes, Manasa says impeachment. That's a formal word, important word. Put off, very good, Anisha. Phrasal verb. Postpone, what is a phrasal verb? Put off. The meeting has been put off, means has been postponed. Preempt, prevent. Forestall, very good, Naidu. Forestall, an important word that you have to recollect. We have done with preempt. Turn out, a phrasal verb. It has turned out to be something good. It has turned out to be something bad. Turnout has many meanings, but in this context, happen in a particular way. Very good, Naidu. Turns out positive, turns out in favor of a particular party, happen in a particular way. Abrupt, part of speech, adjective. Abruptly, adverb. Abrupt means what? Sudden. Yes, Naidu again, first one. Sudden. Abrupt, stop. Sudden stop. Abruptly, suddenly. Tamil Selvan, suddenly adverb, sudden adjective. Here, abrupt adjective. Abruptly, then the right word, suddenly. Credence, part of speech, noun. Belief, faith. Credence means what? Belief or faith in someone. Belief, two words you have to think, belief and faith. Abruptly means suddenly. Here you have to recollect two words, credible. Credible, believable. Incredible, unbelievable. Credulous, that's a different word altogether. Transition, part of speech, noun. Change. Transition means what? Change. Speculate, verb, speculation, noun. One word, guess or imagine. Kalyan Surya, yes. Ashok Kumar, change, transition. Very good. Shift also you can say, Asha Singh. Transform also you can say, Anusha. Good. I appreciate. Mounting problems, a typical combination. Mounting hardships, part of speech, based on the combination, adjective, but otherwise it's a verb, mounted. Mounting problems means what? Building up, piling up. Exactly, piling up. That's all for today. I hope you guys have got enriched. Thanks for being with me till the back end of the session, almost 40 minutes. I will see you guys tomorrow. Do remember to subscribe and share. I'm going to start a new mocks. Wait for 1 or 2 days, and I'm going to launch new courses, online courses. Wait for 1 or 2 days, you will come to know. Thank you very much. I will see you guys tomorrow.